Hey guys, Tez here and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you some of the tips that I followed to help me pass the pre-reg exam. Now I know it's been a few years since I started the exam or whatever, but I feel like these tips will still be helpful for you and I hope they help you with your revision. Now before we get started, don't forget to grab your cup of tea, to have with Tez, and let's jump right in. So my first piece of advice is don't read anything. If you don't read it, it can't harm you.
One piece of advice, don't read anything. If you don't read it, it can't harm you.
You need to revise. If you don't revise, you're not going to pass this exam. I tried to sit this exam this morning because I was like, how hard can it be? I've done this exam before, I'm a pharmacist or whatever. And I sat the exam and I couldn't even finish it. It was too hard. I needed the BNF, I needed symptoms in the pharmacy, I didn't understand what was going on. It was just, I suppose because I'm not used to sitting down for exams anymore, I've lost that skill. So you definitely need to revise. You need to practice maths, you need to practice your clinical questions. So if you don't revise, you won't pass. Don't join too many revision chats, guys. So I know it's very easy to want to sign up to the Telegram groups, to all the local Instagram groups, the Facebook groups, but all of these groups will all say lots of different information that's going to contradict what you think, and sometimes you might have revised something and let's say you found out that A plus B equals D, and then people keep arguing that A plus B equals F, and in the exam you're going to remember A plus B equals F because you've been exposed to so much misinformation that you just accept it as fact. So don't be brainwashed by these Telegram group guys. Leave it out. Alright, just leave it out. So personally, I prefer studying by myself. I don't like studying with people, especially if they study in a way that's different to me, and when they ask me questions and I explain it and they don't get it because our brains work differently, and then I just look at them like, are you dumb or are you stupid? I'm joking. I don't, but that's how I work, so I prefer working by myself. Having said that, it is really good to have at least one study buddy that you check in maybe once a month or once a week, because even though you might not like working that way, it's really helpful because they might have joined that Telegram group and they could have figured out the correct answer to something and they could pass on that information to you, so that way you only get the relevant information. So for example, I was studying by myself and then I did a session with my friend and she was like, oh, do you know your paracetamol and ibuprofen BNFC dosage yet? I was like, girl, please, why do I need to know that for? And then she was like, you need to. So because of her, I was able to memorize those values, and there were 2 questions in the clinical exam about that, I think. So whilst I don't recommend working with lots of people, unless of course it helps you, it is useful if you don't like working with people to force yourself, because they might just give you that extra 2 marks that you might need to pass the exam. The BNF. Now this is very controversial because lots of people will say you need to read the BNF back to back 10 times, once every month, and you need to make lots of notes and you need to highlight different colours, different chapters, different colours for side effects, different colours for interactions or whatever. But honestly, I read the BNF back to back and I highlighted it and I made notes, and after I finished, never looked at those notes, never looked at the BNF again, and that was that. Personally for me, if I could go back, I wouldn't read the whole BNF again. However, I'm not saying don't read the BNF because maybe I did learn something, I don't know. I just felt like it was time wasted because I never looked at it again. But I might be one of those people that learn by highlighting stuff, and I just don't want to accept that I'm a visual learner because I want to be one of those facts and figures type of person. By that I mean I want to see things written down, not pie charts and diagrams and whatever. I don't want to be that kind of person. I found it more beneficial to make notes from the CKS website because it's more holistic and it looks at the conditions as a whole, not as singular. For example, if you're looking at hypertension, then the BNF would just focus on hypertension, whereas CKS would ask you, do they need their cholesterol checking? Do they have diabetes? And if they do, what do you do? Things like that. So I felt like it covered more topics together, which I think is more realistic of what you would do as a pharmacist day to day. You don't get patients who just have hypertension or patients who just have high cholesterol. They all come as a mix, so I found CKS more beneficial for me. The SPC. You need to make sure that you're familiar with an SPC and how it's structured. So for example, what to do if someone's pregnant, what to do if they're a child, what to do if they have renal impairment, how common are side effects, know how to interpret those values, because you will get a question that would have you look at an SPC, and if you're not familiar with looking through it, it could take you a while because it is a lot of garbage to get through. So you just need to know where the different sections are and where to look. It won't take you more than 5 minutes and you'll be very chill. Whereas if you had to do that for the first time in an exam, I can guarantee you that will take you way too much time and you don't need that added stress. It's already a very stressful environment, so just try to make your life easy. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Mock exams. Now I know it's very exciting and you want to go to all the mocks and you want to boast about how you're getting 80% in the Bradford mock, 90% in the RPS mock, but that doesn't matter. Don't waste your money paying to go to all these different mocks, because at the end of the day it's just a mock. It's not the exam. I know the more mocks you do, the more prepared you can be, but you don't need to pay lots of money for these. It's already expensive being a pre-reg, having to pay for the exam, to register as a pharmacist and all these other things. Don't pay for lots of mocks. I'm pretty sure that a lot of unis will offer their mock exams for free to their ex-students, so if your uni offers something like that, then pounce on it. I went to Bradford, so I got to do the Bradford mock for free because I was the part of the 5-year program, and I'm pretty sure that the 4-year people had to pay. So I got that one for free, and then I only paid for the RPS mock. So if you pay for one mock, I think that's more than enough. Don't pay for lots of mocks, because the most annoying thing is paying, like, let's say £99 to go do this mock, and then 3 days later it's on a Dropbox somewhere. Like, why did I waste my £90 for the mock? Why did I waste money to get on the train to get to this location? The foods that I had to pay for during this time for lunch. Unless you have gone through every single mock on all those Dropbox folders and you still feel like you don't have enough exposure and you want more, then I wouldn't recommend paying for more than one mock. Really, don't do it. You're wasting your money. Ontrack. Now I'm pretty sure you've heard of Ontrack, or if you haven't, then girl, where you been? Ontrack is a website provided by the RPS, and it's a bank of questions. So it's a bank of clinical questions and maths questions, and they're set in the exam style, and I feel like that website will be particularly useful this year, especially if the exam is going to be on a computer, and it just gives you exam style questions in the way that you would see them in the exam. So I'm pretty sure some of them are questions from past exams as well, so it's a true representation of what you'll see in the exam. The only thing is it's only free for 30 days, so unless you want to pay money, which we don't, I would wait until 30 days before my exam and then activate the free 30 days, so you could use the questions leading up to your exam, and that way it's free and you get to maximize it. Really, you won't need it for more than 30 days, I don't think. I didn't, and I don't know anyone who's ever paid for it. Computer skills. I know everyone knows how to use a computer, but if the Pre-Reg exam happening in a few weeks is anything to go by, your exam will most likely be on a screen, and this might be very challenging if you're not used to using computers in that scenario. So I don't know if you guys have sat your theory, if you can drive. So as you know, when you do your theory exam, you have that computer with Windows XP and it has that mouse and everything's very groggy, and chances are your exam might be in that scenario, and you need to make sure you're used to using those generic clicky mouses, not a touchpad. You need to make sure that you're familiar with the Windows system, which I'm not, because you know I'm a Mac girl through and through, because I'm bougie and cute. So it might be difficult for you, so you need to make sure that you're practicing using a Windows system with the clicky mouse. I don't know what else to call that, the clicky mouse. Books. So I used the top 100 drugs. Actually, I lie. I bought the top 100 drugs and I never used it. And I sold it. But I bought the book, you know. So there's symptoms in the pharmacy, pharmaceutical calculations, more calculations, and there's the top 100 drugs, which I bought but never used, and then I sold. But at the end of the day, I'll do the best I can with what I got. and that's on Piriana.
I'll do the best I can with what I got.
If you don't buy books, it's not the end of the world. I bought some books, didn't get to read them, not enough time, and I still passed. So if I can do it, then you can do it too. I hope you enjoyed the tips I had for you today, and I hope that you find them helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And I'm not doing a book of the video because I just talked about how I bought lots of books to help me revise and I didn't use any of them, so it doesn't feel appropriate to do a book of the video. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to tap the like button so the video reaches more people. Subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, stay bougie.